So hi everybody, we wanted to bring to your attention something pretty exciting happening in the Lucy world. One of our dear, sweet friends, Frank Gorey, who passed away last year, his family have been going through some of his things and have offered them up for auction to the Lucy community. So joining me today is Tom Watson, who anyone in Lucy world knows Tom Watson. He is a major historian, major Lucy collector and fan, and I think most importantly, Tom, you are the helm of the community. You've been bringing the community together for decades. So Tom, before we start really looking at any of the items that are up for auction, can you tell us a little bit about Frank?
Well, whenever I ask Frank that question, or I ask him for that information, he always opened his little talk with, "A lady walked into a bar." and that alone tells you he had a great sense of humor. The thing was, the lady was a friend of his who ran an employment agency here in town. The year was 1959, and the lady had just gotten a call from the Desilu Studios, who was looking for a driver, not a teamster, but a driver more in the way of a chauffeur type.
Right.
And she wanted to know if Frank might be interested, and he was, and he discovered that the job was really with Desi Arnaz, who was running the studio. He was a very hands-on producer. He didn't lay by the pool and let everybody else do the work. He was involved with so many shows at that point, and they had 4 different studios here in town. And then he lived out in Beverly Hills, of course. And so back, even though it was 1959, traffic in LA was still the pits back then. And he was spending so much of his day driving back and forth from the 4 studios that he wasn't getting much work done. And so he decided if he had a chauffeur to take him around, he could sit in the back seat and read scripts and, write memos, do everything he needed to do between getting from one meeting to another. And that was going to be Frank's job. And Lucy then discovered the new employee. She was still at the studio doing not only her Lucy Desi specials, but she was running the Desilu workshop with the young players. And so she was at the studio a lot, and she would sometimes call Frank and say, it's almost 3 o'clock. Would you go to the school and pick up my kids and take them to my mom's house? And very quickly, Frank became a trusted employee. I mean, when a mother trusts someone with her kids,
Absolutely,
it's someone special. And they knew they had a wonderful employee who very quickly became a wonderful friend. He became part of their extended family, and they became part of his extended family. And he was with her for another 30 years.
Wow,
And,
absolutely beautiful.
Shortly after that, about 9 months or so into their relationship, the Arnazes separated, but still stayed very, very close, and they had the kids in common. Lucy was going to go to New York to do Wildcat. Desi was not too crazy about his ex-wife and 2 kids going off alone to New York City and living right in the heart of Manhattan. And so it was decided that Frank would go with them. And in fact, Lucy's mom went with them. And so Frank was living in New York with them for about 9 months while she did Wildcat.
Yeah.
And then when that ended and they all came home, he stayed with them, like I say, another 28 years. And
Incredible.
he was so much a part of her behind the scenes world that he was there for almost everything.
Amazing.
And, he had tons of memories that he was always willing to share with us when we got him together with the fans at the conventions and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And so it's kind of exciting. When the family was going through his belongings after he passed away, they found all these Lucy treasures that, he wasn't a fan, so it wasn't, he didn't collect like you and I might as a fan. He collected because this was a part of his family and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And so these are things that he had in his home. And rather than just toss them out, obviously, the family wanted to share them and thought some of the Lucy fans might like to have these things. I think it's a fabulous thing that they're doing.
It's really sweet, and they're doing it in the best way they can by bringing it to the heart of the fans.
Right.
And a lot of these things, like you said, they're not collectibles necessarily. They're really mementos from a very beautiful life for decades. And I think some of these items are just so special because they were owned by Frank. And like you said, anyone who knew Frank was a better person for it. He was absolutely magical, and he really was the epitome of a gentleman.
Whenever he was talking about Lucy, occasionally he'd call her Lucy. A lot of times he'd call her Lucille, but usually, particularly if there was a stranger in the room, he'd always say, the lady. Very first time I ever met him was out at the house. I was working with a local TV station for a project, and she was going to be recording a little message like we are right now, Laura. And
Absolutely.
I arrived at the house, and he said, the lady would like for you to wait in the lanai. So that was the kind of man he was, and very classy, and yet very folksy and fun, and very warm and wonderful. And so I'm happy to be doing all of this.
Oh yeah, we're all wanting to give any way we can to give back to Frank for all he gave to us.
Right.
And just as a person, he himself was like, he was always up for adventure. That much I know about Frank. He traveled the world. Anytime there was an option to visit a new place or a new country, he was there. He used to tell me stories of visiting Lizard Island and these strange, exotic experiences that he had. He even came all the way to Australia just to be present the day of our wedding and drive our car into the church. He was always up for it.
He was very
on the wrong side of the road too.
For a guy that lived and worked in Hollywood and worked for one of the world's biggest stars, he was very not into Hollywood at all.
Absolutely.
You and I might decide, if we had a week off, we might go to, some big premiere somewhere. No. He was not interested in that stuff at all. That was part of his professional life, but when he had the week off, like you say, he went all around the world. In fact, one of the things he did through his travels was he discovered he liked stamps.
That's right.
And he collected stamps from all around the world, and some of the stuff that is in one of the items in the auction is a collection of envelopes that had come into Lucille Ball's office over the years from all over the world, and some of the envelopes are in and of themselves are interesting. Because
they
didn't come from Sheboygan, they came from Australia
all over the place.
And Austria, yes, and all points in between.
For sure, and he loved collecting them because of the stamp quality. He was also a very avid photographer, and one of the first gifts he ever gave me was a framed print of a picture that he had taken on holiday in Hawaii, sometime in the 70s, I think. But he loved just to give of his memories and his experiences. And there's actually a few of his personal photos that he's taken as well that are out for auction too. So yeah, Frank is quite the gem, and this collection is, not just lovely because it's in the Lucy community, but it's lovely because it comes from Frank. So should we take a look at some of the items?
Okay.
All right, let's go check it out. So I'm going to share my screen here. So some of these are in order and some of them aren't. I just started putting a few in order. But let's go take a look. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. All right, can you see that there?
Yes.
All right, so I figured we'd start with this, because as you know, and anyone in the Lucy world knows, finding a picture of Frank with Lucy is quite a challenge, because often he was behind the camera taking pictures, but also he was in the background. He was never wanting to be part of the spotlight, and I think the best thing he could do was just kind of stay at the back and observe, and that's what he did mostly. But this is great because we have a lovely photo of Frank with Lucy and also with Thelma Orloff.
Thelma was one of Lucy's best friends, went all the way back to her Goldwyn Girl days. She was a showgirl who stayed in Hollywood and became a real estate agent. And she was her best friend right up until the day she died.
That's beautiful. So I'm so glad we have this picture of Frank. So this photo is accompanying the auction items, just so you can get an idea of who he was. But let's have a look. So Frank being involved with on the the personal side of things, he had a lot of these types of things in his collection in his home. Just pieces of stationery, Lucille Ball Productions, blank stationery, which is kind of cool to have. So you'll see a lot of those up for auction.
The 1041 North Formosa Avenue was the Warner Hollywood lot, and that's actually where she got her very first job in Los Angeles. That
that's
was
awesome
the
to know.
Goldwyn Studios, where
True.
they did, so that's where she did her very first movie, Roman Scandals.
Right, bringing it home. Yeah, Roman Scandals.
For Goldwyn, and like I say, that's where her office was for a long time there in the 70s.
That's great. Oops, let's go back a bit. So here we have just some more blank stationery from Lucy, which is up for auction. Really cool to have. And then this was pretty fun to come across. Frank's address book.
A little black book, huh?
Yeah, as you can imagine, it's got some pretty fun phone numbers in there. We got some Mary Wickses and some Dino Martins in there. And I'm sure there's tons more too. And these are kind of cool. We have some statues and a few little presentational keepsakes that were awarded to Lucy and given to her through the years.
Right. This was from you can't make it out too much, but where the TV set is sitting on letters, and the letters are ATAS, and that's the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, the Emmy people. And it was a big event for her. It was a salute to her, and she gave Frank the item that they had given to her.
That's great. That's a really cool item to have for sure.
Right.
And then we have this guy here, which is beautiful.
That's the drawing that the what's now called the Paley Center was originally called the Museum of Broadcasting, and they did a big salute to Lucy back in, I believe, '85, and she went to New York and did seminars for them, and this was the poster designed to celebrate all that, and she brought a stack of them home and signed them for various people, and obviously this one was for Frank.
Beautiful, and it's gorgeously framed as well. It's ready to hang.
Right.
For sure. And then this is really sweet. A couple of little souvenirs for him from some of Lucy's closest associates and friends. We have Mary Wicks, of course.
Mary Wicks, again, one of her long time good friends.
Can't you just hear her saying that too? I love you, Frank.
In sort of a grouchy voice.
Absolutely. And this is beautiful too. Irma,
who was also her longtime hairdresser.
For sure, doing her hair. Also an amazing part of the Lucy community too. She was always up for chats. And then these are great. He has a lot of books, and a lot of them are autographed by the authors, dedicated to Frank. I mean, there's probably 20, upwards of 20. And in the auctions, I think they're sorted into smaller collections, so you can get a couple for each lot.
Right.
Here's a cute one. Who's this, Tom?
From Candy Moore.
There you go.
Lucy Show.
Yeah, she played Lucy's daughter on the Lucy Show. To Frank, I think it says best wishes,
best
Candy.
Wishes from Candy.
Yes. And there's Frank. This is just a little picture of him outside in Jamestown from his marquee where he was giving a breakfast seminar. So these are good. I'm not quite sure. I don't think Frank would have taken these, but there's a few really fun, just candid pictures, mainly of
Mother Dee Dee sitting at the, in front of the desk, and Desi Jr. standing behind her. I'm not sure who the other people are, and I'm not even sure where they are. But
what the occasion was, yeah. There's a few photos. Yeah, there's a few photos from this, and most of them are featured in the pictures too.
I'm guessing late 60s. It looks like from Desi's age and everything looking in the office there, it looks late 60s, maybe early 70s, but not much later than that.
This is cute, a little birthday invitation. You can see the address is North Roxbury Drive, so it's fairly young maybe for
Right.
Lucy Arnaz's birthday. And these are fun, just some candid photos. There's a whole collection of various production stills and some candid shots there too. And a color photo from Wildcat. And these are fun, lots of little hand-scrawn notes. Some of them don't make a lot of sense to us, but you can tell the handwriting, right, Tom?
Right, definitely.
Yeah, it's Lucille Ball's handwriting there. And then some, looks like receipts for auction items here as well. This is precious. Frank's personal, what would you call that, Tom?
Well, it was
a blanket?
It was a gift from the Lucy Desi Museum in Jamestown, and they personalized it with having the member's name stitched right into the fabric.
Yes, very sweet. And oh, some more of the books. Oh, and that one's pretty special, right, Tom? The one on the left there.
Thank you. That was a labor of love, I assure you.
Oh man, but still one of the best ones for sure. Now this is cool. What do we have here? Let's have a look. Because when we first saw this, it took us a quick minute to realize what it was.
It's
what is it, Tom?
Wig. I mean, you added to the back of the head or to the side as a ponytail type of thing.
So we quickly realized, like, look at the end of that. Let me just stop sharing for a second. I'm going to bring up the actual photo of it here. So we saw the end of it, and then we realized we've seen that before. Let's go have a look here. Ta-da! All the way down to the little end tassel, still there.
Which was part of the publicity for Lucy in London from 1967, 66.
And so random to find it in Frank's collection of stuff.
Right.
But good for him for keeping it, because it's, you know, it's in as good a condition as it can be, really. Let's see, let's go back to the other goodies. Share this. All right, so here are a few more fun items. This is one of the Love Lucy mugs. So can you tell us a bit about this mug? Tom, was it a gift?
I'm not quite sure what it dates to, but I believe it's the 1970s. And that was a Hirschfeld drawing that dated all the way back, actually, to 1943.
Yeah.
For an MGM musical called
Thousands Cheer, yeah.
And Lucy loved it. And after she sold Desi Lou Studios and was running Lucille Ball Productions, she wanted sort of a company logo, and she contacted Hirschfeld and arranged to be able to use that, which they did use as on the closing of her TV shows and on a lot of other things having to do with when they needed a logo type thing, that's what they used. And it's very classy and, like I say, very Hirschfeldian, because it's just
absolutely
all
it's beautiful. I'm glad she loved it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So let's have a look. This is some more interesting stuff, but I guess Frank had a very close association with Dee Dee, Lucy's mother.
Right.
And we found this, which, as you can tell, these are some of Dee Dee's hair pieces. And there's a little inscription there that says Dee Dee's red hair pieces. And I believe Michael, who's organizing the auction on behalf of Frank's family, he asked Wanda, did you know Dee Dee wore these hair pieces? And even Wanda wasn't sure about them. But they're, it's pretty cool to see and cool to have. Let's see. Oh, it's not a great photo of Dee Dee, but there's one with her with the hair pieces in, I believe. These are cute. Just a lot of little fun candid strip photos. There's a couple of them, I believe.
Yeah, those are the kind of things you get in a little machine, usually at an arcade or something, where you sit in a booth and put a quarter in a slot.
Photo booth for sure. And a lot of these little bits and pieces of stationery with either the family's home address or the Lucille Ball Productions address. Desi's book.
That is very rare, by the way, in hardcover like that. It's
absolutely,
for some reason, it's very hard to find.
Yeah, just even without, coming from Frank, it sells for a lot of money, even at auction on eBay, for sure. So here we have, it's a collection of all the Dino, Desi, and Billy goodies, a couple of magazines, and a lot of the original albums as well.
Right.
These are cool to have. Frank collected a lot of...
Frank was close with both of the Arnaz children and was part of all of these stories. So and for him, it was like he was collecting things from a friend.
Absolutely, and supporting friends, for sure.
Right.
He would come to anything and everything that they were doing that required an audience. He'd be front and center, for sure. Oh, now this is fun. Let me turn this around so we can see it properly. Oh my goodness. Here it goes.
All right.
So this was fun, I believe. Ebba Sedgwick.
Eddie Sedgwick's widow, and again, a longtime good friend of Lucy's. Eddie Sedgwick was a director back in the early days of Hollywood and became a good friend of hers, and he and Buster Keaton helped her really learn comedy, as physical comedy, how to do it and that sort of thing. He was at MGM with her in the 40s, and when he passed away, Lucy sort of took Ebba under her wing and always made sure that Ebba was taken care of. And
that's beautiful.
A longtime personal friend of Lucy's, and therefore became a personal friend of Frank's.
Absolutely gorgeous. You can see that's authorized on the back there too.
Right.
So this is fun. I actually really love this one for me. You can see it says Tuesday night, 7:30, April 30th, Tam O'Shanter. And knowing Frank, it is the restaurant, yeah, in Los Feliz. Frank loved the Tam O'Shanter. I can't tell you how many times Frank and I went there for various occasions, sometimes when I was visiting or sometimes just because he felt like going there. It was one of his favorite spots to visit, which is really cute to see. And this is lovely. One of the great production photos from Here's Lucy with the whole ensemble.
Right, the Here's Lucy company, right.
For sure. Lots of familiar faces there. Now this is classic Frank. Classic Frank, a Hertz credit card, Lucille Ball Productions with Frank's name on it.
And it was used.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes you find people's credit cards and you think, oh, they must have just stuck it in a drawer someplace. This one was used.
It was used, for sure.
Again, he started out as a chauffeur and he took her every place. So
yeah, absolutely. This was his job, his deal. This is cool. Do you have one of these, Tom?
Again, the Hirschfeld drawing. She oftentimes put them on gifts and things and gave them for special occasions. And this is an ice bucket, believe it or not. Beautifully done in black plastic, and something I always wanted.
And I'm pretty sure it's never been used because, as I recall, Mr. Gorey did not like to drink. It's probably in perfect condition. Oh, and there's a nice close-up of the Love Lucy as well.
Right.
Now, this is really sweet. What can you tell us about Dee Dee?
Well, Dee Dee's is Lucy's mom, but I don't know what the matchbooks were for. So, but they're matchbooks, just Dee Dee on it.
Just Dee Dee, and that's just kind of how she signed her name when she was ever autographing anything. Just Dee Dee. Oh, we got some more books. And this is lovely because it is autographed to Frank. This is the book from Madeline Pugh Davis, who was one of the I Love Lucy writers and all the series writers all the way through, along with Bob Carroll Jr. and Frank's inscription from her there. Super sweet. Oh, no, Tom, you and I saw this many, many times.
Yeah. His license plate.
Frank's personal license plate. Lucy chauffeur.
Which means chauffeur.
Exactly.
In license speak.
There you go. Which is beautiful. Frank's car had this for many years.
Yeah, you can only get like 7 digits on a license plate, at least in those days. And so how do you shorten chauffeur into
pretty good.
And so that's beautiful.
I love it. It's gorgeous. This is lovely too. Keith Thibodeau's book that he has also dedicated to Frank at the front there.
Right. Yeah, see, Frank was part of all these people's lives. Everybody knew him.
Absolutely. Everyone was Frank's extended family, and you really felt like it. He was the sweetest guy imaginable. Well, these are cool. Some Life with Lucy scripts and some production stills as well.
That's the script for the very first episode.
For sure. And a lot of production stills here. Right. These are all great. Oh, this is cute. Another matchbook. Frank did like to collect matchbooks. That much I remember. He had a whole stack of them. It's a nice
little memento, and you can just stick it in the drawer, and it doesn't take up yards of space. This is from Lucy and Phil, her wedding to Phil Vandervoort in June of '71.
Yeah. Now this is really cute. Some really sweet candid photos, which I'm guessing Frank probably took.
Probably, yeah.
Because he loved taking pictures, and he also loved cars, and he also loved Lucy. So this is Frank's Frank portrait, perhaps. Really cute. This looks to be mid to late 60s.
Yes.
Now this is fun, I believe.
This is when they were living in New York, and it looks like it was a Christmas check. It's dated Christmas Eve. Obviously, I'm not sure maybe he cashed it and then they gave it back to him as a keepsake.
Well, what I heard was that somebody found this. I think it was like Rick or Michael found this on eBay, and they bought it back for Frank.
Yeah, because she says Christmas at the top, and that's definitely his handwriting.
I think that was this one. They bought it for him as a gift.
What's nice about it is that not only is it Lucy writing her full Lucille Ball name, but she still was using Lucille Ball Arnaz both on the check, but also her signature. And that was the place where they were living there in New York.
Yeah, it was after her divorce, but before she was with Gary. And here's a blank check in case you want to write yourself something. May not work, but it's there. And then just some more Lucille Ball productions, stationery pieces. This is really sweet. This is a lovely little note from Wanda. Your personal and private and social secretary. Now this is cute. This is Lucille Ball's autobiography, which was discovered after her death and dedicated to Frank from Lucy. Inside it, Lucy Arnaz. She says, "Why didn't you tell me she wrote a book?"
She had written that or started the book back in the 60s and decided she didn't want to do it. And so it was all just put away, and they didn't destroy any of it. It was just all put in storage. And so after Lucille had passed away, her lawyers found it again and said, "Oh my goodness, we ought to do something with this." And ultimately they did.
Incredible. These are cute, just some little holiday cards. This is really sweet. I love this note. That really speaks volumes to their relationship as well.
I certainly do count you as one of my very best friends and are happy you are part of the family. That basically says it all right there.
Absolutely. That's all. That's everything. Mr. and Mrs. Gary Morton. We know this handwriting too.
780 North Gower Street is the Desilu address.
There you go. Yeah. This is lovely. I've actually seen one of these before. Hazel has the same one. In Australia, Hazel Hernsdorf had the same thing. So I guess this was gifted for a holiday or a function for something. And inside, love Lucy and Gary.
Right.
A little jewelry box. These are cute little rocks glasses with the Love Lucy and the Hirschfeld caricature on the front.
Right.
Lots more production stills. These are from her specials, right, Tom?
Yes, yes, that's from Happy Anniversary and Goodbye, I believe, and Lucy in Las Vegas.
Yeah. This is cute.
Catherine Curtis, I think.
There it is. Yeah. What now? What now, Catherine Curtis? Oh, there's that picture we saw before.
Right.
Oh, now here's a little teaser. So we did find this hair extension, but we also have another amazing hair extension that will be coming up perhaps a little bit later on too. Again, it baffles me that Frank ended up with these.
Why would he have those? That's only a Frank thing.
I wonder if he even knew he had them. I would love to be able to ask him, hey Frank, what do you know? Now this is cool, and I believe it came in a little box, but Frank, as we know, is Lucy's chauffeur and, you know, personal assistant and confidant and everything else for decades. And he had a little collection in a little clear box full of these interesting makeup pieces,
Right.
which makes sense. I mean, you want to tell us a bit about this?
It's all Max Factor, and Max Factor did Lucy's makeup for a long time, or provided the makeup for a long time, put it that way.
Yeah. And this was in a little car kit, so possibly something that was kept in one of his cars that, you know, if anyone needed a touch-up or an access to something,
Right.
they'd have some available. I know for sure I could always use hairpins when I'm in the car.
That's right. Bring up hairpins.
Sorry, Tom.
One thing I don't need.
I have enough for both of us, don't worry. So this is sweet. At the first glance, we thought this might be Lucy's, but it turns out that a sweet little note written to Frank is from Dee Dee, and she signed it Mrs. B. You can see it right here. A little postcard sent to Frank from their holiday in Jamaica. Oh, and that was in that was during Wildcat, wasn't it? Or shortly after Wildcat, we think.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
It's still at the New York address.
Right. Yeah, true. So these are fun. This is a booklet, I believe, for an award that was given.
Yes, a lot of the charities here in town would honor Lucy and you know, as a fundraiser for their charity. And
yeah,
the Center for the Partially Sighted.
That's great. And then these were some of the bits inside the booklet as well. So you can see that she was tributed by a lot of her cohorts for sure. Now, this is what you were talking about.
Yes, those are the stamps and the envelopes.
Isn't that fun? Yeah, from all over the world. And you can see some of the inscriptions were not specific, yet somehow they found their way.
Well, when you're Lucille Ball, somehow the post office knows where you are. And yes, that was very common. She could get things to say, you know, Lucy, Hollywood, and it would arrive. Now you try to look at today, I don't know, but back then you could, and because a lot of people, of course, don't know the street address or anything like that, but they
and it was like hard to find out.
Santa Claus, you know, you write to Santa Claus, all you do is write North Pole on it, and they know how to get it to him.
Absolutely.
Well, Lucy was right up there with Santa Claus as far as being one of those celebrities that, you know, they'll get it to you.
And then look at the stamps from this one. This is from Malaysia. So it came from Malaysia all the way to here in Beverly Hills without an address. Amazing.
And Lucy would answer the letters and see what was inside, but then she'd say they saved the envelopes for Frank because of the stamps.
I love it. That's great. And then this is cool.
Yes, that was from like episode 6, I believe, of the Lucy show, the summer of 1962.
Early one for sure. Amazing.
It says special on it because it was, you know, a few tickets were set aside for special guests. And obviously, if he was part of her family, if he wanted to go see the show, they said a seat was reserved for him, and the ticket said special.
Yeah, he's VIP for sure.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So this is cool. These are, again, some of Frank's candid photos that he would take while on vacation. And I think you know the people in those photos, right? Who are the people with Lucy there?
I'm not sure who they are, actually.
Okay. I thought I remembered, but I have to double check. It's in the auction, I believe. Oh, Thompson. Is it Maury Thompson? No.
He thought so. I don't recognize Maury.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know.
Here's another one of Frank's very much Frank cards.
Right.
Now this is special.
That's unusual too. Who keeps a steering wheel and why?
Yeah, well,
Where's
Frank does. Maybe he couldn't keep the rest of the car, so he chose the steering wheel. But that's really sweet. I love that he had this for sure. And some more Wildcat mementos.
Right.
The original album, along with.
And the sheet music.
Yeah, the sheet music. That's great. And that's it, I think. I'm going to stop sharing here. So we have so many great things. And you know what I love most about this auction, Tom, is that it's such a wide spread of things. It's really something for anybody.
Right.
You know,
all sorts of taste, because some people collect this and not that. And
yeah. But if you just want to gift something to a Lucy fan in your life as well, it's like things that are selling for $10, $20, and there's things that are a couple of $100. It's really all over the map.
Right.
It's a beautiful opportunity for really any fan or admirer just to jump on and snag a little piece of memory.
I'm so grateful that the Gorey family decided, that's what we'll do with these. Let's just share them out. And
absolutely. It's beautiful. So we'll do whatever we can to help promote it. The auction is on eBay right now, and I believe it's Michael's running it. What is his name? Is it the Lucy Fan?
A Lucy Fan, yes, Michael Stern. But but if you do a search, you can just search for Frank Gorey collection and the whole list pops up.
Yeah, even just Frank Gorey, I believe they're all right there. And then you can see everything. If you go to Michael's actual, the Lucy Fan, if you click on that, you'll see everything up for auction as well. So I believe that most of the items are already listed, and I think some of them close in about 2 to 3 days, the earliest ones, and they run through for about another week or so. So you've got, it's a bit of a.
I think the first one may end either on Saturday or Sunday of this week. So if you're interested, check it out.
For sure, don't wait. And then I believe they end every 15 minutes or so, or something like that. It's, but I do know that there are some pretty special and unique things there, and I just love that it's such a widespread. That's just a small sampling of what we showed you there of what is in the whole auction itself. So anyway, thanks for joining me today, Tom. It was a pleasure to chat with you. And good luck to the auction. And we hope that everyone can snag a little bit of Frank's memory. All right, bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tom.